All right. Good morning, everybody. Let's see here. Need to turn off this. Okay. All right, I am jumping right in this morning. Just with PR reviews. I've actually been working on a couple already, but I figured I'd pop the stream on right now. The one I have pulled up, which I think I'm gonna look at next, is WizNet, which is Ethernet library. Let me see. We don't have the camera. It's down, maybe. All right, we need to plug in the feather too. Let's go, does top or bottom make more sense? Doesn't really matter, does it? Okay. Swap this over. Okay, Ethernet feather wing, WizNet. Ooh, I think this wire is notice this USB cable is very touchy, I guess. I feel like if I'm moving stuff around, this will disconnect and reconnect. Assuming it's the cable, but maybe it's actually something else. I'm kind of trying to wiggle it now, but I guess I'm being too gentle. I don't know. Oh. Third one. There's actually several in the WizNet. Is there anything that makes... Oh, it looks like Biffo Bear, generally speaking, has been doing a lot of work. So thank you to pick Biffo Bear. Let's see here. What are these numbers? Oh, MPY? I mean, yeah, I would assume so. It looks like it needs merged again as well. Is this one conflicts? They do actually. A bunch of them will have conflicts, it looks like. All right, let's do that first. Actually, surely this is smaller, right? Just adding global underscore. Yeah. You know what would be nice, honestly, is to use... You know what would be really nice? This is like the perfect one. This is like the perfect one to use to test this cookie cutter. UI size. Like, super excited. I mean, honestly, this is like the perfect use case for testing this. because the whole point of that thing is basically giving us these numbers, which it looks like in this case has been done and commented here by Bill, but the that action in there is like essentially does the exact same thing. If we could test it here and then eventually turn it on, maybe that'd be, this is 84. Maybe I'll bring this up in the meeting. I'll just comment that, and I'll maybe I'll make a note in the weeds and bring that up today. Oh, that didn't work right. I didn't do the formatting. The squares first? I always mess this up. Still not working. Is there an extra one now? I don't understand. There's a missing one. Should I preview actually instead of just saving? Does need to be merged from main. I don't know if I have WizNet. So we did some WizNet stuff not too long ago, right? Okay, so first of all, main is origin. We want Adafruit or whatever the real origin is. Adafruit. Update it. And then merge main into this. See, we don't really want to do GHPR though. Really the one thing that I have found about GHPR checkout that is not ideal is you cannot push back to those branches that come from it. I'm sure you could somehow. You need to link them up with a real branch somehow. I don't know how. So I should say maybe I cannot push to the branches that come from it. So really what we actually need to do is we need to add biffo-bear remote, check out the branch the PR is on, then we'll be able to push to it, then we can merge, push, that will update the PR here. Assuming the merge is like straightforward. If I get into the merge and I have no idea what's what, then obviously I can't do it, but I'm guessing it won't be too much. It will probably just be pulling in some of those renamed variables for this one. That whole reworking one may be a bit more. We'll have to see. Let's see what. So we want to go remote add, get remote add spiffo bear. fetch. And this branch is underscore global constants. So we want to check this out from here. See, now we have the same branch, but we're also going to be able to push to it when we're ready. Assuming that we have permission, and which in this case means assuming that BiffOBear left the checkmark checked by default that says something like project committers, project owners are allowed to commit, or something like that. Project maintainers are allowed to commit. I forget the exact wording, but as long as they left that on, then now we can push to this branch. Whereas the one we get from that GH thing cannot. John G, do you know about the secrets JSON? Secrets JSON? Secrets TOML? We didn't land on JSON, did we? Secrets dot. Does this really talk about a secrets JSON? Oh, well, secrets JSON. No, secrets py. I mean, it feels like a JSON file, though, right? Because it is just a dictionary usually. Hopefully, this isn't a real token. I wonder if this should change to say TOML. I wonder what's the timeline for starting the massive effort of changing over to TOML for the recommended stuff, like in learn guides like this and examples inside repos and things. I suppose it doesn't start at least until there's a stable release that supports it. So at least until 8 stable is out, I suppose. We wouldn't do that, I assume. Copying test code from these examples. Are you deleting the row numbers every time you paste them into your ID? Not directly answering your question, but is this a good way? When you're copying test code from the examples, are you deleting the row numbers? Huh? Yeah, I didn't follow enough of the question. Hotspot. I don't know. I don't follow. Directly answering your question, but oh, this is not directly. Oh, but this is a good way to hide your network information in the code. And copying test code from these examples, are you deleting the row numbers? Oh yeah, you would have to, huh? Okay, 2 different thoughts. This is where I was confused. First one was a response to somebody. The second one is a different thought, it seems to be. Do we have device? Yeah. Yeah, we should try to change that, huh? That's not great. Most things like GitHub here, like if we click through this way, we're going to find the same examples. They're going to have line numbers, but when you highlight it, doesn't highlight them. we should... Boy, how do we even approach that? I mean, I guess that's the theme's fault, right? I would say we should disable line numbers if we can't make them not copy over. Ideally, we would like to have the same front end as GitHub here, where the line numbers exist, but they don't copy. But if that's not possible, then I think no line numbers is better than line numbers that essentially break every line of code. What is in this file? Just include examples, lineus, literal include. Is every docs like that? It is. Weird. I've never noticed that before. I don't copy code out of read docs usually. Well, out of the examples. If you go, but like here it's fine. Specifically the literal includes of the examples. So this is from a markdown file, or not really markdown, but RST. But this one would be one of those literal includes. There's like, I'm surprised none of these have. Surprised none of these have. Code in the doc strings. Right, that's what I'm trying to find, is one with code in the doc strings. So like in a property it has a small example of how to use it or something. Not seeing that though. This one's got a document and text about it. It's not just a code block. I swear I have seen code blocks. Okay, finally we found one. This is within the text. Yeah, these don't have line numbers. So it seems like specifically the literal include. So this is, so we use Sphinx, but we use RTD theme. Sphinx, RTD theme, literal include code file, line numbers, copy. Hopefully that will get us line numbers. Sphinx RTD theme. Close, starting with 4.0, copying a block of code. Okay. What is line OS? What does this mean? Can we take this off? Oh, line nose. Line nose. Oh, okay, so we could turn line nose off. Fair enough. But it would be better to be fixed, because the line numbers are good. This says closed. Bug. Need to hide numbers. Fixed by 123. gonna entertain this rabbit hole. I know I sat down to do Ethernet. I'm gonna indulge my slight ADHD here. How's it going, DJ Devin? Sorry, I did not have the chat up until just now, but good morning to you and Axel. GitHub, if you go to the examples, choose the raw format it removes. Yeah, even in GitHub, if you go to the page, even the page, it shows line numbers, but they don't copy. Sorry, by the way, yeah, I had help with pulled up over there. I never did think to switch over to live broadcast, but I should have. Boy, I don't even know. Where is it's RTD? On RTD. Okay, interesting. Sphinx RTD theme. How does it get installed? Is that in a requirement or a docs requirement? Sphinx for. Where does the theme come from? Well. Oh, shoot. Oh, I have a bad feeling about this. So, build the docs locally. Build the docs locally. What I'm gonna call a hypothesis that I don't really want to have and that I hope is wrong is that if I build this locally, it's not gonna do that. And then the second half of that hypothesis becomes that we can't update the version because the version is a thing inside read the docs server. That's gonna be... That is gonna be a bummer. So, wow, did I really? This was the right one. I had all these tabs already. Boy. How's it going, C. Grover? Yeah, I could use another coffee, honestly. Well, yeah, I don't even know then. I don't know. Oh, I didn't paste the, We might just have to take line numbers off. That's something we can control at least. Boy, this is stretching my, knowledge of where to look inside read the docs. I guess that's a good thing, though. It's always good to be trying to learn. I think that... Let me not use NeoPixel. So... There are some random things in here. I must have been bookmarking. Must have somehow been bookmarking with hotkey and not realizing it. I have what I was looking for anyway, though. Is that on my old computer? Was I not moved over? I need to get to this page, but for, well, this one needs its hook. Hmm. I don't know how it knows the theme. Oh, I didn't get a ping for that. There's no T. You edit? Tag. Sphinx RTD theme. Yes. I feel like I've been here before. I feel like I've been here before. Because this right here is very familiar to me, because I remember thinking that it's really kind of silly to just have a project created before this date use a certain version. Yeah. How do we update? Also, I must say, it would have been best for them to put in this text here a link to a resource that tells you how to update. So, so that implies that newer libraries don't have the same problem. NeoPixel is one of the oldest libraries, I would assume. Pixel Map is one of the newest libraries. What does that say? Unknown, but it still links. Oh, because the integration, maybe because of the same thing we saw on the other page. Yeah. Oi. Yeah. Oi. Read the docs.yaml. We have read the docs.yaml? So can we specify the theme in here? Yeah. But we would have to pin it. So that's maybe, this is maybe another in the weeds topic. Well, but this is just in requirements. So if we specified a version in here, because this is referenced by this, then read the docs will use the version we specify? Okay, let's start writing this stuff down instead of keeping it in my brain. Hello? Nice. Dude. Absolutely cannot have this account, but dark mode also. Oh, okay, we just have to do it in a very particular order. Nice. I spy the, looking like you got a case going? Nope, not hashtag. Let's see. This is, Sphinx RTD theme version inside of RTD, inside of RTD server. Let's clone NeoPixel and build locally and make sure that it, just make sure that I actually understand what I think I understand. So my understanding is if we build NeoPixel locally, it is gonna work fine. It's gonna work the same that WizNet did, which is that we will be able to copy and we won't get the numbers. That's not actually the case though. It would be good to know that now. Because my assumption here is that the version is not specified anywhere, therefore we fall back on read the docs, which says October 20th, whatever. If it's before this date, then it's this version. If it's after this date, then it's the latest version, which is actually weird that it's not like this other version. They changed from specific to always newest, which is interesting. But my local environment will be whatever I have, which is just latest probably, because I would have just installed Sphinx RTD theme, probably wouldn't have given it a version. Oh. Buff? Didn't know I had a Python 3.8. I don't think I do have a Python 3.8. Though I do think I recall reading this is the correct way to use pip now anyway. It's python-m. So maybe we'll do that. Hopefully it'll work. Yeah, okay. I think that's my inclination is, let's just put it in requirements as Sphinx RTD theme, no pinned number, and then it will always download the new one. That means and we just put that across all libraries. That means all libraries, no matter their creation date, have the same behavior, which is they use the newest version of Sphinx RTD theme. Eventually, someday, Sphinx RTD theme is going to come out with a new version. Something is probably going to break. That's probably true, and if we pinned to a version, then that might not happen. But we already have that problem with all of the newer libraries anyways. Could write a script to use regex to detect the line numbers? I cannot. Somebody could. Remove them. Yeah. Being able to specify a version, have it automatically update. Yeah. I need the right half as we speak. Nice. Won't be finished for 14 hours. Nice. Got a huge print. Busted out the 3D printer for the first time in a while yesterday. I had very, very small prints though. Little Lego bits. I think my print time was estimated at 9 minutes and took maybe 13 or 14 total. With heat up and cleaning and everything. Okay. Okay. That was quite the rabbit hole, but we made it. We made it out the other side. Back to here, I don't think I merged main. I think I am still needing to merge main to this. This main was updated, and this is now older. Close a bunch of these. I think I copied all the relevant links into the note stock. Okay, yeah, this needs merged. We want to take the underscores because that's the whole point of this one. Hopefully there won't be anything trickier than that. Presumably there will be something from the right side, because if it was only on the left side over, then PyCharm usually will figure it out without the need for doing this. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, unfortunately that's a bit awkward. So I guess we need to pull the right one, but then use the underscore on DHCP boot reply. PETG, very dense material with 1.2 millimeter, 1.2 millimeter layer height? Dang, that was a tall layer. I feel like, isn't layer height, usually it's a fraction of a millimeter, like 0.25 is kind of like normal height, I think, in Cura at least. I mean, like Legos, except not perfect sides. Yeah, I bet it would be. It would be heavy. I haven't tried printing a Lego. Make a semi-convincing replica with just a 3D printer. Kind of like the orange step switches from afar. Yeah. Yeah, the Lego 3D prints. I mean, I didn't print a Lego brick, like a pre-existing brick, but I printed one of those standoffs for the stemma boards. So you can tell by looking that it's not a Lego because they don't make that quite the same component. But honestly, even looking at the connectors, the part that is the same, you can still tell from decent distance away that it's not quite Lego, I think. But it's close enough to fit, and that's all I need. So I think we pull from right, and then we need to add the underscore here, and then I would guess we just X this one. Hope that that's still okay. Hope that we don't run across anything more convoluted than that. I will say I wish there was a, like, accept all unchallenged or something, right? Like, any case where there's a pull from this side and no difference, no unhandled difference, conflict. I wish I had one button that would just pull all of these instead of having to scroll through here and click each one. Don't get me wrong, I like having them all highlighted and having an easy button to click for each one. So it's better than nothing. But feels like there could be one extra step here of pull all the unchallenged ones. Okay, that was it actually. Alright, fingers crossed on this one. Bad. At least doesn't look too bad from the scroll bars. Oh. Too soon, so this got changed to a value error in main. So yeah, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't take that. And then these, that's easy. Those are just underlines. Stable. Protected access. They count as protected now that they have leading underscores, maybe? Assert. One was changed from an assert to an if. Interesting. I feel like that other one was left. Didn't we pass one that was left in assert? Huh. There's another one where it's been changed from an assert to an if. Maybe I misread the one. I thought that first one we passed was still an assert. Excuse me, still an assert though. Oops. Okay, here's another one. It's been changed, and then we'll need to get the underscores. You know what I am actually surprised by is that there's no magic wand. A lot of times there's a little magic wand here that will actually do these ones, which are simple in nature. These ones changed enough that it can't figure it out, I guess, but honestly, they've been fairly straightforward so far. Knock on wood, I guess. One thing I will say, oh, but that's just because it's if versus assert. Yeah, okay. You do need the leading underscore there. X on that. Okay. Ender S3, Ender 3S1 has auto bed leveler, which creates super precise bed mesh, so I can do stuff that close with almost no experience. Oh, 0.12, I see. 0.12, not 1.2. Never seen a cert used. Didn't know that existed. It's normally used for tests. Tests are the only place where I ever see a cert used personally, but you can also use it. I mean, as we saw in the code there, you can also use it as like an if statement that raises an exception. I don't know. I mean, since main was changed to be the other way, I would assume that means that best practice dictates, or that somebody at least believes best practice dictates use the if statement instead. Maybe if we found, I think he said 81 was the one that got merged. Let's see what this one says, if there's any mention of... No. I don't know. That is now merged. This will run actions. Hopefully it will pass, and then we'll test it out. Never seen a cert. Oh, that was before. Could get changed or deprecated someday. It will probably stay. I think it's fairly safe. But it's less widely known. An email. Okay. It is that time of day and that time of year, so I must put up the sun blocker. I'm also gonna get some ice from my water, so I'll be RB. Okay. Probably will make that other coffee here pretty soon, but... Alright, so let's get ready to start testing this also. Global constants. So we probably should MPY. We probably should MPY it. Which gets me back to this, which is I never know the command for building. It's actually harder to find now, right? Because it actually, yeah, it goes through here. Like circuit, it's like build tools, build something. So where to cert? That could be. I have no idea. My assumption would be if you are using the MPY version, that they both probably get compiled into the same thing. But I don't actually know that for a fact. And you might not be using the MPY version, in which case saving space is saving space. So yeah, if your text Python code has if, as long as you don't add more characters to make up for the fact, I guess you would need to raise also. Once it gets compiled, I would assume there's some more primitive representation that doesn't actually differ between the two. Build bundles. And then I never know what to put here though. Repo name. Repo name. So is that the full capital? Does it actually matter that much if I put the wrong thing here? Does it just have a weird name or something? I'm gonna go delete the builds here also, because it looks like we built this in the past. I'm gonna delete all of these. That way after we run this, we know we're using the one that we just created. No such error, remote origin. I mean, it's not untrue. Got a library anyway. Not sure I care. No such remote origin? I don't know what that's trying to do. Actually, already on WizNet stuff. Convenient. One, we should update that. I don't know. We probably won't need that, but I'll keep it for the moment. So one thing to do is check the size. The whole point of moving those to be underscored was save size. 7 items selected, 25.7K. $27.5, yeah, 2K. Quite a bit, actually. If this helps, but there's an advanced setting. I did see this. Advanced setting for a typical library, note ignored stuff at the top, so it might be irrelevant. Things listed here are ignored when using the configuration file. EPUB, PDF, system packages, global site packages, CircuitPython 2.x. Pip requirements files. Configuration file. You want us to find it for you? Yeah, I'm thinking these ones don't... Well, I'm hoping in the case of the interpreter that these ones are getting ignored. Hopefully we're not building with a Python 2. I think they must be using our config. Settings listed here are ignored. I wish they would, I mean, I guess it's nice of them to give you the warning. They should, like, it'd be nice of them to look at the project and if there is a configuration file, and therefore this page will definitely be ignored, to put a note here that says this page will definitely be ignored because there is a configuration file. So I think this is in the project settings. Advanced settings, typical library. Because our configuration file, it does say Python. Does it say Python 3? Somewhere I saw a Py 3, I thought. Where, I don't know if it's. This is conf. Sphinx mapping just goes docs python org/3. That's the only 3 there, though. Ah, there, yeah, Python 3 here. Version. Doesn't look like those settings. If there was a setting specific to the theme version in there, then it would probably be definitely worth trying to change that, I think. Before changing it in the config file, but it looks like there's only things that point to config files and stuff. Putting novice trying to learn, using basics, matrix portal, feet wet, 3 rows of text, front door, garage, sliding door. Where I'm stuck looking at some tutorials. The next step is to create a label, but I'm not sure what a label is or what function it serves. I get that this defines what fonts to use, the XY, since I have 3 lines. Defining the top left corner of the text box. Okay, so we'll just say that display IO. Actually, So let's send that, and then the next question becomes add text. How does add text work? And the way to understand that is hopefully go to Matrix Portal. This one is tricky though because of the way that it extends portal base. I almost think it'd be nice if we had one large documentation for the portal libraries that somehow worked for all of them. Add text. The XY coordinates are. I'm gonna guess top left, but oh, there's actually anchor point. Text position. The text position is listed as the first one here, but then oh, there it is. Okay, just out of order. Can't read. Position of your extracted text on the display in an XY tuple can be a list of tuples when there is a list of JSON paths. I don't think this person is doing JSON paths like reading data out. I'm not really sure though. I will freely admit too, I'm not very familiar with the correct way of using the Matrix Portal and those libraries. Like, I did just recommend that person to keep using it if that's what they're using, but I will also say personally, I am a lot more experienced on the just make the label yourself route. But it is like, it's a lot to understand for folks that aren't used to object-oriented GUI frameworks, basically. I kind of had a huge head start of already having worked with that concept prior to touching display.io. XY tuple. I would assume it doesn't specify top left, but I would assume top left or top middle. I mean left middle. So I think they said they did simple test and simple server. I'll do those and I'll see if the other ones are something I can run or not. We should update too though. I'm gonna read all that, but add text doesn't seem to actually define what text to display. Oh, that's true. Text position, text font, text color, text wrap, text max length, text transform, scale, scrolling, spacing, anchor point, data. Is data. Is data? What happens if is data is false? Yeah, I need to make it a priority to get better, to learn better how to use these libraries. Honestly, I am not the best person to help, truthfully. I think also there's a opportunity for more/better examples. One thing I will say is there are loads of Learn Guide projects that use these libraries, but the actual examples in the repo are pretty sparse. Yeah, I may have just given this person bad advice, truthfully. Maybe the answer is just... See, it's hard. Like, what I would do if I were sitting down to do it, I would absolutely just scrap using Matrix Portal and make labels myself. But I feel bad recommending that to someone if they haven't ever used Display.io, because that's going to be a steep learning curve, much harder than doing this thing if you know how to do this thing. The problem is I actually don't, so I cannot tell them how. So it's almost like it... just don't know how it works. It's like it assumes that you're going to be using fetch, but then what's that is data for? That seems weird, right? Why does it have is data, and what do you... if you set it to false, where does the text come from? Was I in network? Well, okay, it was on... well, yeah, it wasn't on this data. Doesn't have it. See, then this is where it gets tough, because then you go over to graphics base. What? Is add text not part of graphics? Add text is not part of graphics. Init here doesn't have anything though. Text. None. Oh, what on earth just happened? Oh my god. Oh my god. Awesome. Discord just is my computer now. Alright, one thing at a time. That's kind of upsetting. Why does escape not break out of here or F11? That is actually really frustrating to me. From a design perspective, I don't understand why Discord would do that. Discord, full screen. Yes, undo. How do we? Press F11. Awesome, that does not do anything, so that's not the answer actually, but thank you. Discord desktop full screen. 8 ways to fix. Why does it take 8 ways? Yeah, those are gone because we're in full screen. Oh, yeah. Control-Shift-F, obviously. Obviously. I don't know why I was being so silly. Control-Shift-F, everyone knows that's how you go to full screen inside Discord, the desktop app. Whoa. Okay. Apologies for my persnippetyness. Bad interfaces bother me sometimes. I judge that to be a bad interface, but I'll try to move on. The link to a learn guide for that one. The learn guide shows exactly. I think that was back for the label one. I think I did do that. Added matrix portal. Yeah, it's not. My understanding is if you know how to use it, it's not a headache, and I can see how that's the case. I just don't know, so it is more of a headache to me, but. No, I think there are lots of cases where it makes it way easier. I don't think I necessarily agree that it always makes things harder. I think there are lots and lots of cases where it makes things much, much, much easier. But there are cases where it's not the case. There are cases where it does make it harder, like especially if you're not trying to fetch data from the internet and put it on the screen. It's really, really, really good at simplifying the problem of fetch data from the internet, put it on the screen. But if you are not trying to do that, if you're just trying to put a couple things on the screen and maybe read a sensor or something, then it can do that, but you kind of work against some of the ways that it was designed. Mixed feelings about the abstraction. Matrix portal was so large that microlab was removed. Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that trade-off either. I think I'm on Would say I think I'm on your side there. I think ULab it would be nice to have over the portal library, but I guess it depends on the specific device. I mean, the truth is maybe, like, I bet there will be a new matrix portal that has more resources, but that's also not necessarily the answer, right? Because if you already have the original one, then that does you no good. The good news is, at least I guess, that custom builds are possible. It'd be nice to get that custom build creator thing going where you could have a server that you could log in or whatever and be like, I would like a build of matrix portal, but remove these frozen libraries that I'm not going to use, add these frozen libraries that I do want to use, you know, turn on and off these flags for built-in modules, and then click build and have it make you one that you could download. I think that would be super sweet and would alleviate a lot of the problem of making the decisions about which things get cut for which other things, because at that point it'd be very easy for a person to just make a build that has the stuff they need. Now, from a support perspective, it's a lot harder, right? Because if somebody makes a build that doesn't include a thing and then comes to the Discord and is like, this thing is not working, and then you troubleshoot for a while and figure out that it's just not in their build, that's tough. And it's lowering the barrier to entry to getting those custom builds. Whereas today, in order to get that custom build, you kind of have to have already cut your teeth, so to speak. You already understand a lot about how CircuitPython works and what trade-offs you're making by turning stuff on and off. You have a better chance of knowing the ramifications of what you're doing, whereas if it's just clicking a few check marks on a website or whatever and then clicking download, then you may not necessarily, it may not register like, hey, I'm turning this thing off, but like my project actually wants to use it or something. Divergent ways, that's true. I would agree that it does make two different ways, and that's part of what I struggle with, is there's a way to do it with just labels directly versus with the portal. And I do struggle with like which one to recommend. And I find it especially tricky not knowing the correct way to do it with the portal. Yeah, for real. Yeah, I was copy pasting and I accidentally clicked that. I have no idea. I've never done that before in Discord. Make a bear. Yeah. I think that'd be really sweet. It comes with it does come with a few drawbacks, but like for situations like that, it helps alleviate the pain of those choices, right? Because it's like, I won't, you know, to be blunt, like if you have a device and you want to use it for a thing and you're like, you're ready to use it and you find out like, oh, this thing was disabled to make space for this other thing that I'm not using, like that's a bummer. Like that doesn't feel good. That's not a fun user experience. Providing at least a way for that person, if they're so inclined, to dig a bit further and actually find a way within their means to make a build that they can use for what they want, alleviates that blow a lot, right? It helps improve that user experience from being sour to, you know, maybe not the best, right? Because they do still have to go do the custom thing, which I'm sure they prefer not to, but they at least have the opportunity to use it in their use case. Whereas before, it's just like, nope, that's not there because we cut it to make room for this other thing. They're like, well, I'm not using that other thing. That doesn't help me at all. It doesn't benefit me, and in fact, that wrecks my project. I think that the upside of that outweighs the potential support additional work of people making a build, not understanding that they disabled something, and then come in and asking why it's not working. Yeah, that's true. The support is there. I just think the upside outweighs it personally. That being said, like that's a guess in my head too. Like maybe we implement it and it turns out that I'm underestimating the support effort. Bluetooth? Ah. Yeah. Let's see, we should be now boot pi up to 6. There we go. Close this. We don't want to just have a random use open. I did earlier. Actually, a different browser, I think. We're on 3. Nope, this is over here now somehow. So I just scooted it, that's how. While I scooted it so I could look up Discord full screen hotkeys. That's right. Yeah, okay. The other thing I will say too is it doesn't look like text is not documented here. So that's a definite, could be improved for certain, no matter of anything else that we have talked about, is this is just straight up missing text, which could have helped potentially in this case, at least with this person in the help with. It sounded like maybe they had found that docs page already. Got another Matrix Portal one. Uh-oh. Guidance with Matrix Portal, have a script that makes a request 30 seconds. Pull a list of planes overhead based on some kind of data listed on the matrix. JSON response is small, 450 bytes, but after 10 to 15 minutes, it hangs. It has to be power cycled. Hailed the console logs. Nothing is ever output to suggest an issue. The device just seemingly locks up. NeoPixel, I don't know what the status blue means. I run GC collect after each. That was going to be my only thought, was GC collect. Reasonably sure I'm not running out of memories. I mean, it sounds like out of memory to me still. All right. That's a bit tougher. That's just like longevity of running a thing is it's hard to do. Yeah, power, actually, that's a good point as well. I didn't think about power. Hungry? Yeah, that should output something though. Like if the server, I mean, realistically, there should be try catching, there should be error handling around the fetch because it will fail sometimes. There's nothing you can do to stop that. It's definitely gonna fail sometimes. So hopefully they do have that. And it sounded like they were seeing the printouts but just not getting any error. So my assumption is the fetches are succeeding, or else that it's getting locked up in the middle of one of the fetches. But if it is just an exception, then that's maybe they could. Maybe I'll ask to see their code too if they comment back. Actually, I'll just say. Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. I think you still have to do the try catch yourself. I just mean if they had not put that try catch and their thing had failed, it should print an exception. And my interpretation of their message is that they did not see, that they were hooked up, but they did not see any error message. So either it didn't print an error message because one didn't happen, or if one did happen, it was like too broken to print. Is all I meant. Yeah, it would still, to keep your thing long running, you still have to definitely wrap it with try catch. Now to your point too, though, I don't know about the portal library. My guess is you're probably right. It does some amount of catching those for you, I would assume, but I also don't know the answer to that. What, Connect client test. Could we just use board.spy? Feels like we kind of failed anyway, seemingly. Oh. Failed to configure DHCP server. Why are we trying to configure a server? 23? Seems weird. Is this plugged in? Seems like it. Failed to configure DHCP server? Shouldn't it? I mean, it's not. Shouldn't it just be connecting to the DHCP server? But debug true. I will say too, with the Ethernet library, one thing I found was that my network is weird somehow. BRB also. Oop. All networks are weird. Yeah, would agree with that. Build a configure DHCP server. Does this fail any differently if the Ethernet is just unplugged? Also, should we try the released library? So, there was something weird where my network failed to connect DHCP with the Ethernet Featherwing. But a recent PR actually fixed that, I thought. I had tested it a few times when I was working on testing that PR, and it seemed like I was back to good. I don't remember the exact error. I don't think this was the error either, though. So maybe there's like... I guess we just... There's no timeout, maybe? Or it's very long, if so? I don't think this would matter, but I feel like we should probably be doing this, right? Why not just connect to the assisting? That's... No, I mean, I think it does. I think it is. I don't know why it's talking about that. In fact, I'm almost positive it does, because the DHCP server on my network is the thing that I suspect was returning a weird value, which was making it not work. Debug true is no good because it spams too much. Can't actually see the relevant messages. They just scroll, they just fly past. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why it says that. Guess we're going down to another rabbit hole. Let's try the released one of these two. I feel like I was good. So the question is this really broken from the PR, or are we just in a state now where we're not actually good for some other reason? I don't even need to do this, actually. Oh, too late, apparently. I mean, I don't think it's running a server. I don't know why this is the message. I don't think it's actually running a DHCP server, though. I think this, I mean, I interpret this as it failed to negotiate with the DHCP server. But I also don't know the actual specific details of DHCP, so probably there's a much better, more accurate way to say what's actually happening, and I just do not know it. So to get back to stock, we're just going to delete this for now. This will now stop working because we have no module. Well, stop working. We'll crash sooner. I don't think it is, though. I don't know. Yeah, no, I think it is doing that. Yeah, I don't think it's doing that. I know it's printing that, but I don't think it's actually doing that in the code. But I don't know either. On the server one, maybe. Even on that, though, I don't think so. Maybe if it was running its own network, like an AP one, if it was hosting its own AP and allowing things to connect, then it will need to have DHCP involved, but like running its own DHCP involved. But this is not that, and therefore I don't think it's doing that. I think it's just a bad error message, probably. Or not bad, but doesn't tell the full picture. Certainly seems like we're just not good, though. Failed to configure, it does say the same thing. This is the released version. So I'm going to try a different device just because I could have swore we were back to good. Could this be an RP2040 specific thing? I don't know. We will change to the other TFT. That before it's too late. This is a UART test. We don't really need it. Matrix crashes every other week. How to restart, reset. So reset, there's microcontroller.reset. I'm gonna have to go move the sun blocker here in just a second. I'm pretty sure it's microcontroller.reset for like restarting, essentially doing the same thing as pressing the reset button. Well, not the exact same thing. I don't think it's like a softer reset, but as far as writing the stack trace, I don't think there is a good answer for CircuitPython. We don't have the traceback module, which is how you would get the stack trace as a string. And without the ability to get the stack trace as a string, I don't know. I mean, you can catch the exception and call toString on it. So you can get the string of the exception, but not the stack trace, I think. I do not know of a way to access the string that represents the stack trace. If there is a way to do it, then you could write it into a file. I will say your next trouble is the fact that the drive is not writable unless you have your bootpy set up. So you either would have to do bootpy tricks to make it writable like I did on the sequencer, or if you have an SD card, that would be ideal. If you have an SD card, you can write to that without needing to do any bootpy stuff. But that's the reset. Traceback, again, I don't think is possible. The specific exception, you could call toString on it and get the text from that, but I don't think it will contain like code line number this, whatever. It would be super cool if we had that ability though, so hopefully I'm wrong. Have the SD card matrix portal? I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't remember for sure. The Pi portal does. Vamp. Yeah, hopefully they'll post their code. Pi portal has SD. Not on the matrix, okay, yeah. Go to resolve hostname. $33. So failed to resolve hostname, that's usually just like it failed because it's the internet and it fails sometimes. Probably succeed next time or the time after. Yeah. So what do we have here though? Edited my network. Lord only knows what's this. These are Python files? I don't even know. I'm bad about having modified libraries on my devices sometimes. Like, is this stock? Is this from a PR? Or did I just edit this? Is it... Nobody knows. It's probably from a PR. This should fail now. Excuse me? Oh. Okay, we were one we were one run behind somehow in the printout, it seemed like. But it did fail, eventually. Now we install that. Then it should go back to succeeding. Ideally. Checked with buffer protocol required. SD carded breakout is cheap. That's true. Trying to write to it after a crash. It depends what crashes. Yeah, that is a risk though. Is like whatever crashed could crash enough that you're not able to do what you need to actually write to it. Plot thickens. I need to practice with the external debugger some more, truthfully. I would love to update the Learn guide covering external debugger, like basically troubleshooting hard faults. So we might be in a situation where current released version just does not work for me on either device. This is a Feather TFT. The other one was a Feather RP2040. We're now back to failing the same way. I guess it's time to start actually looking through the code, maybe? So it seems it's all, I mean, it's looking like the current released version somehow is broken for me as of sometime more recently than the last time I ran it, which was when I was testing that other PR that actually I had thought fixed it for me. Let's go back to main. Let's take the PR out of the mix for right now. I know the PR is ultimately what I'm trying to test, but we got to peel the onions, peel the layers of this onion one at a time here. Let's worry about getting the device to where I can even test it. Yeah, it was, and I mean it was just now on that other library. So I have, while it is a mystery and I don't actually know what, well, where'd it go? I don't actually know what is in it, if that's just a stock one, or if that's a PR one, or if that's one I modified or whatever, but this one works. This not really right here, this is what was there, and that was working. Like, I did it 3 or 4 times just a second ago. So something I'm thinking has changed in the repo since then, and now no longer works for me. Question, I guess, would be, is it just me, or is it actually just broken? But that's pretty much impossible for me to tell because it was always weird / broken for me. I thought it was fixed, but I still don't trust it to be working right on my network. Submitted a cert? Substituted? Oh, hey. I was looking for that earlier. Maybe I just didn't look at the title? Let's step through the code and see if it's near an assert or something that was an assert. See if maybe there's some difference here. Because I am back to stock, and I'm now failing the same way. So 219. Well, right off the bat, that feels weird, because is that really a file name? Yeah, okay. Interesting. Shouldn't that just be inside of a init? Is there a difference of having this inside Adafruit WizNet 5K versus just having it in a init, since that's inside there? I don't actually know. What do we say? What? 290... It's not in this one. 219. 19. If is DHCP ret equals set DHCP. If ret is not 0, set this to none. If If ret is not 0, set DHCP client to none. If ret is not 0, raise runtime. Why are there 2 if statements? Is this not the same as this? Is there a difference there? It's not equal to 0, so 0 is success. Ah, right, we're not on the device. I guess what I want is the Python one, so this is how I'm gonna end up with one of these weird ones where I just randomly edit the library. Also, I have hidden the chats. The assert was crashing something. This statement seems unlikely. Control D? Possibly, but I mean, it's 2 different, has 2 different, like, things it does in the body. So this is the Python version of the code rather than MPY, but still the main one, the released main branch. Quote unquote, current released, I'll call it. Wish it would fail faster. Or succeed. Really, I wish it would succeed. I'll take that first and foremost, but if it's not going to succeed, I do wish it would fail faster. I don't know, that seems really odd. To have the 2 if statements that check the same thing. Save that, which is going to make this start going, and then while that's going, I'm going to look inside of here. Initialize the DHCP client and attempt to retrieve and set network configuration from the DHCP server. Yeah, we are the client. We're getting it from the server. Just the error message, I think, is a bit awkward. Let's look at that assert thing and see if that changed this part of the code. Yeah. However, the message is actually the same. Is the behavior different? Shouldn't be, right? We got -1 in my case. I mean, realistically, it was already weird that there was one if statement and then an assert right next to it. Unless I'm misreading that. Am I misreading that? I think I highlighted these somehow. Yeah, there already was an if statement and then an assert right afterwards. So then the assert got changed to an if statement, which makes sense based on that PR's motivation. Why am I failing now, though? Yeah. Feels like we have some other difference still, too, though. This, well, it was changed here, and while I do think it's weird, I don't think it's to do with with my issue connecting today. At least not that part of it. Maybe something in here. I'm gonna go back to this one. Oops, didn't mean to download twice. And actually I want the Python one anyway, so we're gonna download it a third time. This is a place where I wish these would have a version somehow. Like they have this, which gets changed. I wish this was in here though, right? It'd be super nice to be able to know at least like what this started from. So I could then go back and compare, find out if it's modified further from that or not. Alright, so we got the same failure on the previous version from before the assert thing. So let's keep going back. This is 3 weeks. That's just renamed an example. I mean, that shouldn't have broken anything, I wouldn't think, but... This is so weird. What is in that one? So I remember this one, edited my network. This one I did just comment out some stuff to make it work. And that's not probably the right solution, but it did work on my network. This one I didn't think I had changed. I thought it was either stock or a PR at least. Like, if not stock, then a PR. I may need to just tap out on this for a while and try something else, honestly. Ran out of space. I resorted to wrapping the entire matrix portal project with try-catch. With a try-catch at CircuitPython. Yeah. Yeah, you pretty much have to. Anything that's network related, if you want it to run for long periods of time, you pretty much need high level error handling to just catch whatever could be wrong. I don't know, man. I'm perplexed by this. I thought we were in a working state. I think I'm losing energy to dive into this particular thing. XID. So this is what I like band-aided this. XIDs are supposed to be the same. So this is like everything I know, which is not much, but DHCP client sends an XID to the DHCP server. DHCP server is supposed to send back the same ID with the response. That way the client can know that the response that came back is actually the response to it. In my case, the XID was coming back +1. If the client said the XID is 7, then the server would send back the response with XID 8. That's oversimplified. I think they're a bigger number than that or whatever, but that was what was happening in my case. XID was +1 when it came back. And I commented this out, and that allowed me to get past that problem, and everything else seemed to work okay. This was like the longest ago state that I recall, was me band-aiding this to make it work on my network. I thought a PR from a few weeks ago had fixed that. I kind of guessed that this other version of the library here was the one from that PR. This one does seem to work on my devices, on my one device that I've tried it on. But I cannot get the currently released one or the currently one in the PR. I cannot get any of the current ones to work. They all fail with that error. What? Yeah, okay. Now we're also just seeing old stuff too. Does not help my energy for looking into the problem when I can't trust the stuff that's getting printed out to be actually real. So this one just works. This one's fine. I have no idea which version this is. If this one has my Band-Aid in it, I don't really know what happened to it. So this one does not have my Band-Aid in it because my Band-Aid was right here. I'm pretty sure this is the one from the PR. Why can I not see that? Did I just try another one? I don't know. I'm so confused right now. So this one is not my Band-Aid. My Band-Aid was right here. This used to print F and then return 0, 0. Now this raises an exception, which is helpful because print F obviously is unhelpful. So this is not my Band-Aided one. I really think this is the one from the PR. What PR was that? I'm shocked that it was not within the last 2. How long ago was that? So it's like, this is back to November 8th. 3 weeks ago, got approved that. It's just longer back than I'm thinking? Let's just be longer back than I'm thinking. We tested this one. Type error? Okay, that sounds right. I don't have the review on that either. I am so confused. Okay, this is what I'm thinking. It was further back than I remembered. Usage of int from bytes. This was when I was looking, so this is how I found XID was a different number. Found the printf, I found the debug true. This looks familiar. We failed with this earlier today. This was, I don't remember which permutation we saw this in, but we saw this today. Yeah, these are my incrementing things. C3 and C2. This is actually solved though. Can be closed because this doesn't do this anymore. Man, I really thought I was done with this error. This is the one. There's a different PR and it's not merged yet. 80. Okay. I feel much better about there does like this is the missing piece. I was like I swear there is some piece to this where I know that this conversation occurred in these posts and things and I was not seeing it. Can we merge? But this has conflicts now. I should have merged this at the time. I don't know why I approved it but didn't merge it. Or maybe my network, maybe there's another device that somehow, I don't know. I don't know enough about how it actually works to be able to diagnose or troubleshoot it. This is the missing piece, though. This was the one that I was thinking of from a few weeks ago. This is exactly 3 weeks ago, so that explains why August feels like way too long back. This one never got released. That's why none of the released versions work for me. I have to have this one in my network to work. So we actually don't really have much choice but to do that PR first, unfortunately. I should not have started with globals underscore stuff. We do need to merge main to this one as well. This is called DHCP error handling. I actually have here. I'm going to delete that though. Couldn't get supervisor to work. Oh, supervisor reload. Yeah, that's another one I think I've seen folks use. I mean, I have no idea. So my assumption was that there's lots of these kind of off by one things here where it's like this one was 4.8 from 4.7. I already changed it so they say 4.8 on both sides, but this one is 15 and 16. My assumption was kind of a couple of these off by ones were basically causing that transaction ID weirdness. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. Definitely don't know if it's right. I think would we take main here? Runtime instead of value. I don't know which one is more proper. Yeah, this was odd to me as well too. Transaction ID is supposed to match, but it used to do a less than rather than a not equal. This has now been changed. It no longer does the F. It no longer does return 0, 0. It just raises an error, which makes sense because this 0, 0 just caused an error a few lines later anyway. Still increment, even though we only one read address. That sounds also potentially relevant to my off by one. The thing, I'm kind of like a bit blind in the DHCP world. There's lots of stuff that sounds and looks like off by one errors, which is pretty much what my transaction ID seemed to be. I kind of assume one or more of those ultimately fixed my particular issue. So now this is hard, though. I have no idea which of these we would do. Was the magic cookie, like, actually changed? Yeah. I don't know. Are those equal somehow? Maybe those are equal. Int.from bytes. This is frozen. That's annoying. I can't do anything in that because of this window. My TO is trapped inside there, so I just can't do anything inside TO either. And I can either cancel or apply. I can't just close this and keep the work I've done so far. It's either throw away all the work I've done clicking the arrows, or it's click the last arrow even though I don't know the answer. Or I'm not allowed to do anything. I don't think is the best interface. I don't know if it would be big or little. That's different. Well, but it's 0x. Because then it's x. That one looks closer. Okay. So those are the same. Yes. But why change it, I wonder? I mean, it was intentionally changed as part of the PR, so I think we do pull it from that side. And I do think having a comment by it is helpful, although personally I don't really understand the comment. Okay, let's also try this version. I'm left wondering still though, what's weird about my network to where no one else seemingly had this problem. So I feel like if this was doing that for everybody, as consistently failing as it does/did for me, that it really would have been being reported. Failed to resolve host name. So that's another one of those, like, it can just fail still legit sometimes. So let it try again. Succeeded that time. Yeah. So now one failed to resolve host name, but that's okay. That's the same thing. So now, though, our question, I guess, will be, I wonder if we're going to have to merge main to that leading underscore thing again. Since we already did that earlier, I wonder if this one, if we merge this PR, I wonder if that will make more differences from that underscore one. Seems like we fail every other time. That time it succeeded. IP lookup, which is what was failing. Failed to resolve host name. Okay, so we broke the cycle. It looked like it was pretty consistent. Fail, succeed, fail, succeed, fail, succeed. It may still fail to fetch the text too, but it was failing on this. Or if we put it, I wonder if we got it locked up by doing that. Nope, there it succeeded. Okay, there's 2 in a row. Well, 2 in a row, good. Nobody else ever did mention anything on this. I didn't say anything on this about my rationale for approving it and not merging it. I guess I was waiting to see if anybody else was going to try it out or had any thoughts. It's been a couple of weeks, though. We haven't had any other action on there. I'm inclined to merge this now, though, because this basically becomes gating for, at least for me, to be able to test the other, at this point, 4 PRs. I'm assuming I'm not going to ever be able to successfully test without this one merged. So I'm thinking we merge this, and then that's going to unlock the other 4 PRs for me to be able to actually test. We go 113.1 DHCP error handling. Yeah. Async IO is definitely its own beast for sure. I will say too, like, it was it Neradoc? Whoever did the lights, I think maybe you mentioned it was Neradoc. And I think it says at the top of the file, but I don't recall for certain. But whoever did the lights did it with Async IO, the LEDs on the sequencer. And I actually just continued from there. If I had sat down from scratch to code that, personally, I probably would not reach for Async IO, but I do think it's a good tool for the job. But personally, I tend to reach for just like a state machine and a while loop. But I think that Async IO can make the code easier to understand for sure. But it does, you have to know more. Neradoc, okay. You have to know the Async IO syntax, sort of. So like it is simpler, but only if you know that syntax. And if you don't, then it's not really. Which is a weird way to be. I think that I am gonna head out for now. That was a bit of an adventure. How long have I been on? 2 hours 40. That was a bit of an adventure. I wish I would have maybe paid closer attention and tried to follow up on that one. Seems like that one slipped my mind from before break there. Because we could have saved ourselves a lot of trouble if I would have started on that one today instead of the other one, but unfortunately we didn't. That's how things go sometimes. I am glad we got it worked out. The other one is merged now. I can actually run the thing on my devices, so we can actually test the rest of these. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm going to head out now, though, get some lunch, do some things around the house that need doing, get ready for the meeting. I need to put my notes in the doc still for the meeting. Meeting is this afternoon, and then I'll probably be back at some point in the afternoon after the meeting. Maybe not like immediately following it, but sometime later on. I'll probably pop the stream back on and either continue on this or maybe look into some other PRs. We'll see how I'm feeling at the time, but that's what I think my plan for the day is. If anyone's interested, certainly feel free to tune in later on. And thank you for watching either way. I hope everyone does have a good day. For those of you that will be participating in the meeting here in about an hour or so from right now, I will, see you virtually during the meeting, so that'll be nice. Otherwise, for everyone else, thanks for watching. Have a good day, and I will see you next time. Thanks.